Have you ever wondered why the first car ever made cost around £1,000 at the time, roughly 30,000 today, but modern cars, even though they're safer, faster and more efficient, often cost less in real terms? How is it that something which clearly increased in usefulness over time actually decreased in value? This paradox puzzled the German philosopher and economist Karl Marx, and it pushed him to uncover what could reconcile this strange antagonist movement of value. No, it's labor time. Actually, it's labor. Specifically, the twofold character of labor. In the first video, we saw that every commodity is a curious mix of two things: use value and exchange value. But where does this dual nature come from? Marx's answer is simple but profound. It's rooted in the very nature of labor itself. Commodities carry this duality because labor itself has a dual character. Now, what is that dual character of labor? The first is the qualitative. This refers to the kind of labor, the specific skills, techniques, and activities that go into making something. For example, tailoring, weaving, engineering, all fall under this side. It's the concrete and practical work that shapes a commodity's usefulness. The second is the quantitative aspect. This refers not to the kind of labor, but to the amount of it, measured in labor time. These two aspects map directly onto the dual nature of commodities. The qualitative aspect of labor corresponds to the commodity's use value, while the quantitative aspect of labor corresponds to its value proper. Now, you might remember that in my first video, I said that the only thing that manifests itself in an exchange relation is the value proper. Not the use value of a commodity, but its value proper. And you might have thought, wait, how can that be? Don't we trade bread for wine or shoes for coats precisely because of their usefulness? By the way, I don't trade anything for wine. Alhamdulillah, I'm a Muslim. It's just an example, ma. Relax. For Marx, that objection makes sense, but only on the surface. And it is precisely here that the twofold character of labor comes to play. Let's go back to my first example and suppose factories, as they do, can now produce a car in 200 hours instead of 400. More cars enter the market and the value of each car falls by half. A classical economist might say, that's the supply and demand. But Marx asserts the real reason is that the socially necessary labor time needed to make that car has fallen. Less labor is congealed in each one. So its value drops, even though its usefulness, its use value is greater. To quote Marx, the same change in productive power, which increases the fruitfulness of labor, and in consequence, the quantity of use values produced by that labor will diminish the total value of this increased quantity of use values, provided such change shorten the total labor time necessary for their production, and vice versa. End quote. This is exactly the antagonist movement of value that Marx wanted to explain, and it only makes sense once you grasp the twofold character of labor. Now, why is this important? What's the point, you might ask? For Marx, this is precisely where the contradiction lies. We shouldn't think of exchange of commodities simply as material exchange, but as a social exchange of value. That is what lies at the heart of exchange relation. I'll leave it there for now, but in the next video we'll dig deeper into this idea that commodity exchange is in fact a social relation. This is what Marx famously calls the fetishism of commodities.